What can we do with some cereal packet and a scrap of fabric? Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. So for this you're going to need a panel of card. I've got this from my cereal packaging. I love the fact that it's the Alps and we've been dealing with alpine plants, so that's really brilliant. What's going to happen is I'm going to have that down there like that. I need to have about ½ an inch at least to wrap around this fabric. I'm going to iron it, I'm going to line it with a heat and bond, and then I'm going to back my card, and then I will get a nice flat cover. So the idea is we're going to be wrapping the fabric around here, and this is a proper linen fabric, so it's quite thick. So heat and bond comes on a roll, you can buy this, and it is a sticky, it's glue that you iron on. Very cool. So that's going to be my front, so I want to put it on the wrong side, the opposite side, and I'm going to iron on this heat and bond. So all you do is you take your iron and you iron it on. The glue melts into the fabric, onto the fabric evenly, and leaves you with a nice surface. I'm going to cut down my fabric so that I want to get rid of all the rough edges. I actually want to work with straight edges and bring it in. That's a bit too much. I probably only want about ½ an inch, okay, to come in, just a couple of centimetres, and I want that all the way around. Right, all the way around, yep. And then I'm just going to lose this edge here. And that is a lovely salvage edge, so we will use that for something else. Now I will be able to bring in my sides nicely. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to iron the heat and bond directly onto the card. Got a tea cloth here and I'm just placing a hot iron on a cotton setting over the top of this. It's going to curl up, so I'm just going to not worry about it, let it do its thing. What I'll do is I'll put it under here and press through from the other side as well, which is probably what's recommended. But you know, when do we do what's recommended? We just have a go, don't we? And then we discover for ourselves. All right, the paper. It's not quite bonded, but that's okay, because when we get this on, so we just iron that on to the heat and bond underneath, so the glue, if there's enough heat in the iron still, it should just melt it enough. Okay, so everything is nicely stuck down, heated, sealed, and all right. We've got Fabri-Tac at the ready. Okay, so with my fabric scissors, I'm just going to see where I've got my crossover point, and I'm just going to do that. I'm going to come in ever so slightly away from the point and just cut across. So just ever so slightly away from that card point as I fold everything in, so we get a nice corner. And this is just tacking it down, and then what I will do, that's another way of doing it, is just bending it forwards. What I will do is just, I'm going to tape it with my parcel tape. But this is just an extra. It does not need to be neat, but you just don't want anything extra or bulky that's going to prevent it from lying flat. Alright, so that's how that's going to sit in there. Now from here, when that panel's in position and it's all glued down, you could do what we've done here, which is just cover another pocket and stick it down. So we could do that and just have some nice pockets and be super simple and be done with it. But what I'm suggesting here is to have folding closures, closing doors and things like that. Okay, so I've got my panel here. I'm not worried about the appearance of it because we're going to be decorating that, whether it's more pockets or another fabric or some stamping. I'm not sure, I just want to see how this evolves. All right, I found this piece of packaging. I keep packaging when I see interesting card being used, something that I could use myself because the thickness of it is a good quality. So I've been having a look and I found this, and what I've thought now is, because we've already got a fold there and there, I might be able to do something here. Let's work out where the middle is. I've got 6 inches, so I just want the 3-inch mark, which is there. Okay, so I've drawn the line to cut through, and we'll just see what this then does for me when I cut through here. So this could be any box. This could be a cereal pack that you've cut the top off. Well, if you open it out, we've then got this. It's interesting. So that's interesting. I've then got some interesting flips. All right, so I've come in 1 inch and now I'm cutting through. And that's now a spare bit. Okay, so I've cut my box. So we've now lost that panel and we've taken away those 2 parts. So they can be folded together. And with these flaps, we can now have them over here. So that will fit, let me turn it around. So that will fix on there like that, I think at the top. I might have it at the top. And this one will fit over here at the top. We've got a gap here, which is fine because I'm going to extend it with another piece of the cereal packet, and I will bring that over there, and this will be decorated in a different fabric as a contrast to what I will have here. Flip, 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 and then on this one I've drawn a line at 2 inches because I'm going to have that is going to go there, that's going to go there, that's going to go there. They're all going to line up on that line. So I'm just going to reduce the height there by 1/4 inch from what it looks like. And then I've got the option of another pocket to fit down there if I've left that space, which could be interesting. And then we'll work out the extending bit there. And then I'm going to cover everything in the fabric using the heat and bond method. Okay. So that's perfect. So that is one, that's number 1 done. If you wanted to do this more regularly, heat and bond is quite, it's more effective to buy heat and bond in a roll, and some good haberdasherers may sell it on a roll so you can buy the exact quantity you need. Otherwise it can be bought in packs of 5 yards. I find that that is more cost effective to buy it in bulk. Okay, I've got my pieces with the heat and bond ironed on, and what I'm thinking is to have what's left of this scrap of fabric which matched the front of the cover. So I've got my panels complete with the heat and bond paper on, and I've just got to work out which bit of the pattern I'd like. I'd like to see the trees. Right, the benefit of this clear ruler allows me to see the fabric within the measurement that I want. So I've got 4 inches across the top here, and I'm focusing in on these two trees, trying to get them as centered as possible for my panel, which will be this. So the panel is coming in and it's going to be there, so that's fine, so that's plenty. And then I've got plenty to wrap around either side, so I've really got to go through the center of those trees and I should be okay. So I'm just going to cut my fabric here, and then now I'll be able to fit that in the center of where I want it, and we can sort of manipulate that round so that the trees are roughly where I want them to be. Okay, so I've kept my crease areas free. That's how that's looking so far. For the outside of my piece, so if we imagine that this is going to go here eventually, this bit here where there's nothing but we've got the edge coming in from the front, I'm going to put this embossed textured natural fibred paper, which I've had in my stash for a long time, and I just think it's really beautiful. It does add a bit of bulk, but it's got to cover up an edge of fabric, and so it's going to look like that. And I like the fact that this is natural and organic, and a piece of paper that is probably from the region in which the plant hunters would have gone to. So I'm going to have that, and I'm just going to line it up down the bottom here. I'm coming in a little bit, I'm not going right up to the crease, so I'm coming in about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to line it right the way up. I'm not leaving an overhang to bring it, well, I could do, but this is another thick piece of paper. I'll leave a bit and then see how I feel. If I leave myself some to bring round, that might be quite nice. Just cut the corners away and see how I feel about that idea. So if we have this, it's going to come in like that, and then I would put another sheet of paper over here. I'm just cutting down this lovely paper which has got some really nice fibres in it. This is going to form the inside of my folded area in here, and I'm just going to use, there we are, that's going to sit in there, and I'm just going to use the Fabri-Tac now to glue that all down, just to stick it down to everything. I don't want to have to sew this down, so I'm really making sure that we've got that all stuck in there. So this is my bit from the cereal packet. I'm just cutting it down. Okay, I have my cereal packet strips. These are going to be the bits that go here. Now they are a wee bit too long. Cutting these down to size, and I've just got to get them so they match in. So they'll be fixed on there, and then they'll just join up. Alright, I've got my strips ironed on with the sticky heat and bond. I've got my tea bag paper, which is mock leather, made into leather. So if you haven't seen this, you could follow along with the link below. That is how to make leather out of tea bags. And I'm just having a look at how much I want to cut off here, because I'm mindful that I would like to use this for a journal cover as well. So I'm going to take just enough that I need. Okay, that's good. So there's enough there for a little booklet. Great. And then this is going to be ironed on to here. Okay, this was successful. That has covered very nicely the leather paper over the top of this, so I'm just going to cut it out now, nice and exact, right up to the card line. It's given it a bit more strength as well, which is great. And then I'm just going to sew round them. Okay, so these pieces are going to look like that. They're going to come in and meet in the middle. I'll just bring everything in, and then you can see that that will be fixed on there. I'm going to give it a corner round on just the inside corners. So here, that's it, and here. Just on the edge here, I'm using a rusty hinge orange colour, and that will just take away anything along the edge there. And then I'm going to go around with the sewing machine just to sew around the edges to give that a stitched look. Ooh, I felt like I was at the leather makers then. So I was just backing it onto this scrap of fibrous paper that I've got, handmade paper. It's absolutely lovely. I didn't make it, but it is very beautiful. Now what I'm going to do, so you can see I've got that, so that will peep through, you will see that on the other side. So what I'm going to do is just go around the edges with the ink in this rust colour and just take that white edge away, blending that in. I went with a zigzag stitch in the end because the sewing machine was set to zigzag and I'd forgotten that, and so we had to go with it. But that's okay, because that will definitely keep the paper together. So I'm thinking that I could make the policy closure in the same fabric. Okay, I'm just playing around with my scraps. I've got a scrap of heat and bond here. I've got 2 circles that I've punched out using the 1-inch circle punch. That's out of the packaging. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a few more, and I'm going to make my policy closure. So I just need to have some circles here. So I've cut out 6 circles using my hole punch, and those are going to make the policy closure circle button. I'm taking 2 circles and I'm going to iron on the heat and bond, and then I shall iron on the leather so that I've got the top one is going to be leather. Okay, I've put the heat and bond on, I've cut round, and now I'm just removing the backing, and I am going to iron those on to my leather, my tea leather. Okay, here we have them. So they're all nicely glued on to this leather fabric, and all I've got to do is cut them out, and those will become the tops of my buttons for the policy closure. And there we have them. So that's going to be the tops of my leather buttons. All I need to do now is just going to glue some of these together using a wet glue. So I'm just using art glitter glue, and I'm going to just stick 3 of these together and go again. So I'm putting the marketing sides together so that my top one grips on nicely to the craft paper here. Bit of a sticky one, this, but it's only glue. So I'm just playing around with the placement, making sure that my strips are in the right place, that that's all going to come in and meet in the middle correctly. I want a nice, I don't want it touching, but I don't want them so far away that they are going to leave a gap that I can see through. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, lining this up with my orange markers. I just want to slide that into position. Check that I'm happy, that it's all looking neat and rustic and fabulous. And then I'm just going to put my clips on it. And the other thing I can do is a nice big bulldog clip right in the middle. And then that's not going anywhere. So we'll just leave those to set. While everything else is setting up, I've got this that we did earlier with the heat and bond still on. So I'm just trimming this off and I'm going to iron it to this scrap of linen here. Okay, so we've got that. I'm just going to check that I've got it all squared up. Alright, so I've got my, this is going to be my insert. This is going to be a pocket that flips up and down. And to make that, I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to sew along the bottom to create the flap over, the fold over. Okay, back from the sewing machine. So we've sewed round here like this, me, myself and I. In our quiet crafting space. I've sewed along there and that is now nicely attached. It's not a pocket, it does look like it might be, but when it's all down it's just going to be the flap. So it's how it all is on the back here. I just put a little bit of tape down there and then that will just make it nice and smooth when I want to put things inside the pocket. Okay. And wherever possible, I'm trying to add the things that I've been sent from swap partners and people that have engaged and taken an interest in what I'm doing. So here was a piece of really beautiful vintage lace from Wendy. So thank you, Wendy, if you're watching and following along. Everything that you sent me was absolutely stunning and this vintage lace was just perfect, and I also used it up here as well. So I just wanted to say a thank you for all the girls that have shown an interest, have spurred me on, and also people who have sent me things. I try and add them where I possibly can when I can see that you are trying to help me. And thank you to Helen, a lady who I got in touch with earlier on this year in order to do a swap in the UK, and she sent me through this lovely blackberry dyed cotton. So it's been dyed by blackberries that she grew in her garden, and I've just put some of the heat and bond on there, and I've got this card which is just quite thin card, it's just packaging. I think I'm just going to put that on there, possibly sew it on as well, and then I'd like to bring in this colour, this berry colour here, literally a berry colour. And this will be another little pocket idea, and I think that will turn down. So that's what I'm up to now. I'm going to remove the paper here for the heat and bond, and I'm going to iron this on. Okay, success. So this has turned out like that. A bit of a rough edge on this side there, so I could just cut that down. I don't know, should I don't know. So my other subscriber called Helen, who writes in very regularly, and I'm very thankful to all of her comments, a couple of people called Helen who write in, and she has said that, yeah, we love the fray and just the rustic look of it. So I'm quite keen to not take away from that. However, I am thinking that I'd quite like to put this crocheted lace on there as well, which will tie in with other things on the journal. In which case I won't see the frayed edge anyway, because I will probably curl that round and then that will be the pocket. And see where they're going to come to, and make sure that this pocket sits underneath. That's right. And then that is going to live there, hang down so slightly so you don't see all of the join at the bottom. So I just need to leave myself that amount of space at the top. I'm really using up the last of this Fabri-Tac now. And I've got some on order, but it hasn't arrived, so that doesn't make me feel happy. I've got 3 in 1, so we should be all right. I just get slightly panicked when I'm doing something that I want for archival reasons. And this one is not as waterproof. And I think if anything gets damp in the future, I just want to have that assurance that it's going to be okay. Right, good. Good. All right, so pocket going down here now. I mean, if it pops off, then I'll have Fabri-Tac hopefully next week when we get a delivery. If we get a delivery, it's all gone a bit slow. And then we've got postal strikes on Wednesday as well, so it's anyone's guess at the moment. All right, so then I've got this big expanse of space here with quite an uninteresting fabric. So that's where I feel I'm going to do a bit of stamping. And I had in my mind thought I would do the stamping before I put the pocket on, so I should have done that. But I think we can get around it if I just use a script stamp and a few smaller botanical images on that one. That's it. Okay, so I'm just concentrating on this bit, and I'm going to use my Grand Espresso. Where's that gone? Right, we're back in business. I've had a bit of a clear up. It was absolutely crazy. I've got a lot of things threatening to fall in on me at any one time. I'll just do a quick scoot. Look, this is the sort of situation we are faced with. What is this? Lots of bits of stuff. So, I couldn't find it, but I have found it, which is good because I've been wanting to use it and it hasn't been to hand, so I've been using other things. So, lovely. Right, I'm just going to have a sip of coffee and whew, I've just had a little full-scale tidy up, or rather a manic sort out. Oh, okay, that's better. Right, where were we? So, yes, stamping when I should have already done it, but I couldn't because I couldn't find the ink. Let's do it this way. I just like this brown colour on here, so I'm going to just do a bit of that. Let's see if we can get a bit more. That's better. And let's see if that bit there, good. And that's better. And then a little bit, if I've got a little bit over here. And that's nice. That's okay. And then that will have a nice image of a flower there in a black. So that's the brown. And then we want a nice botanical flower, please. Where are those? What's this? So I've got that little one there. I was using these stamps the other day on my parcels. They were good. All right, so this is black soot. And I'm going to put that there. Oh, how did that get there? Right, try again. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Oh, I love it. I love it. So I always used to use the normal ink, not the water-based ink, not the permanent ink when I did my stamps. But since getting the archival waterproof permanent inks and the silicone stamps, I just haven't looked back. I find that they get much nicer impression. I really enjoy using them, and they don't move. So let's just have the word garden up there and hope it comes out now I've said all of that. Oh, that's good. That's nice. What else? Little butterfly coming in. A little butterfly. Okay, that's great. We'll leave that. Those are fun. I've enjoyed those. So I might do a bit more on the back here. We'll just move those out into the abyss. So if you have got silicone stamps, that's great. You can get them. Don't have to go rushing out and getting them. If you've had a bad experience with silicone stamps, then that's is something I've heard from hot countries, because they go sticky. And if that's something that you think, oh yes, that's happened to me and my stamps, it could be because you have had them in maybe on a windowsill or somewhere where it's got extreme heat, and silicone melts. So there you go. That's why they go sticky. It melts. And if you've taken them out of the plastic packaging, chances are something's happened. It could be that the stamps were cheap to begin with, or not made well. Who knows? They're made of a liquid silicone compound. It's all very strange. It reacts with light the way they make it. It's very cool. It's brilliant science, but it's also yeah, they react with heat. So if you've got sticky ones, then throw them away. You can't use them, and the definition will go as well. And if you consider buying more, do so, but keep them in a really cool place. Make sure that they're kept cool and out of the sun or the heat. I'm not saying put them in the fridge, unless you're very serious about your junk journaling, but you would need to keep them at a good temperature, a nice cooling temperature. Okay. So that's where we're at. Let's take these off. This is the flip down bit and a pocket. And now I feel like I want something up there outside. Don't know. Oh, another thing I've got. Where's that gone? Here, I've got this little lovely ribbon. That would be perfect. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. Okay, let's have a go at this 3-in-1 and just wait for it to go tacky, and then that will just embellish along that top line. Organic plant dye, beautiful. And then this is perfect. This is just salvaged out of clothing. I had a cardigan, or I have a cardigan, and this came out of it, off the top of it. You know, where it helps you to hang it up on a hanger when it's in the shop, and then completely useless when you get it home, because it's just an extra step of trying to mess about hooking the little ribbon up on the hanger. That's what I don't do it. So it's free ribbon, isn't it? There we are, free ribbon. Now decorating up Harriet Bully's personal correspondence folio, which is what, and a scrap. Okay, I love that. I'm loving it. It's really super. Okay, so that little bit of trim could come up here now and be there. Getting there now. So that's how that's looking. All lovely. And then I think in here I've got to work out how these are going to be attached, and if I am sewing them on then I need to do that now. Okay, back from the sewing machine, I've stitched down here, and what I'm just doing now is putting in some glue. So just putting glue right on my stitches under there, and then bringing it up and just gluing right in here as well. So we've glued and we've stitched, and then I'm just going to put the clip back on there, and then what I'll do is I will tape as well, parcel tape here as well. So I want to get my policy buttons over on there. I want to sort out my closure. I've done a template one where I've put it in the middle, and I've already made my holes, and I'm wanting to have them off centered to just be a bit different, so that we have it like that. And I've made the holes, and that seems to be okay. So this is what we're looking like so far. I'm going to perhaps do some more stamping on the inside, but I quite like the cream calmness of that at the moment. And the other thing to do is we've got these flips here, which are absolutely beautiful, but in my head they're mini journals, or they could be. And I've got these beautiful papers here, so I'm thinking that I will fold these up and have a little mini journal in there potentially. I don't know, that might be too much bulk, but I'm looking into that. So that's where we're at the moment. I've got a little bit of lace down here, and I want matching lace here, and I've just got this, sorry, knocked you. I've got this which I've found, so I'm going to just put that down this harsh edge here, because I love to sit here creating. It just brings me joy and a little bit of quiet time to reflect on all the things that are going on in our lives outside and away from our craft tables, and all the things that we have to cope with, deal with, think about in all other times. But when we're here, when we're sitting here and we're quietly just having a little watch of somebody else make something, bring you some inspiration and ideas, and just perhaps you'd have a little go, and when you do, it will feel really nice. That's something you can achieve, and you can, because what was this? This was a bit of old packaging, a cereal box, a scrap of fabric, a nice bit of lace. That's the bit that but I had that was, you know, out of Grandma's sewing box, and so is that, and then that came off of a jumper or a cardigan. So I've had a few little bits like that recently, where I've gone through my clothes and realised, oh, it's a nice bit of blue ribbon. So go through and have a look. And then these are just papers that I've collected over the year. So whenever anything nice comes along, I will squirrel it away, like that beautiful paper in there. I'll get my pokey tool, and I'm going to just make a mark on that one so I can see where I need to be. Right, that's that one, and then we do the same on this one. So that was my breakfast cereal box and my morning cup of tea, now turned into a beautiful file folder fit for Harriet Bully, Edwardian lady. So what I need now is a couple of split pins. I'll use the bone folder and see if we can just squash that down. I think we should be all right. Yeah, that's all right. I'm just going to snip that bit away to hide that, and I'll go round once with it. That's it, okay. And then we should be able to wrap it around here and then up there again. We definitely don't need it that long, so I'll take that bit off. I can always just wrap that around there until I think of something. And that's how that's going to be. Okay, so this is the folio, and that's going to go in the front cover here. And it's going to live in position here, next to my two gardening pioneers that have inspired this journal for 2 months now, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the process, and I'm still continuing to look up and find out more, so I shall be still going down this rabbit hole in my future journals for sure, because it's such a fascinating topic. And it's led me on to Edith Holden and a wonderful artist from the 1800s called Mariana North, and I just want to bring you along for all of that as well. So this is going to be here. I'm going to wait until I get my Fabri-Tac. I'm going to glue that down, and then I either have a pocket at the top or the pocket at the side, and I'm really unsure. I think I would prefer the pocket on the side, and then we can get to things in there. So that could be cool. But equally, it could be at the top and have some, you know, you could have some nice A5 papers going on in there, but it'd probably work on the side as well. So leave a comment below. Do we want the pocket at the top or at the side, or not at all? Or have the whole thing secure and stuck down and not worry about an extra pocket? Anyway, I'm not going to glue it on until I've thought about that, but what I will do is just now show you when it's in position how it will appear. So we open it up, and then out it comes, and there we have the folio, and then you will be able to get into here where I'm going to have some other things. And you'll be able to get into here, which I believe is going to be a mini journal with the special papers. So that will go in there like that and be writing space. And then at the back, so we've got the stamp here. We've got this that is now an area for a writing pad or something. So that could live in there just to fit in with the colour theme for now. Got a peony as well, so quite like it. Then we've got a pocket here, and I just want to see if I can put my lovely flowers in there. Yes, so it could fit in there. That's all right. I'm not loving that. I think it might be better off down here, all tucked in and secure. So it could, that's fine. So it could go there. We could then have more pockets further down. Let's do it this way. So we could, then I need to have something here. Maybe there's a belly band or something that goes there, and then that folds up. And then there's a pocket there. All very lovely, all clever stuff. I'm really pleased with it. So we could have it back over here, and it will live in there quite happily as well, so I don't lose them. So plenty of, oh, this is just to remind me to do something red on that page. So there's, you know, there's plenty of space in all of this for all sorts of things. And then coming back again, I could have, you know, all my herb and tickets and stuff, everything there. Do we want more pockets on here? We could have journaling space, cards and what have yous. I'm thinking, my head went to vintage photos, so we could have little vintage photos there, maybe of Harriet's daughter as a baby. There's a baby picture I can get hold of. So all sorts of things. That's where we're at the moment. So do let me know if we are having a top pocket or a side pocket for this main folio, but I just think that we can have a pocket, so we might as well, and that would all be rather brilliant. And then down here I'm planning on pinning with these little pins these little cute pins from Tim Holtz, pinning on fabric samples and little bits like that, just make it interesting. So there you go, from a old cereal packet to something really rather smart, just using up the tea bag leather that we made in a previous video, which I will show you how to make in the link below. So thank you very much for joining me, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.